Every morning when your eyes open, you are receiving something money cannot buy. You are receiving time. You are receiving another opportunity. You are receiving another day that somebody else prayed for but never got. And yet many people waste the first moments of their day doing things that slowly destroy their peace, their health, and their future. They wake up stressed. They wake up complaining. They wake up scrolling through their phones. They wake up feeding their minds with fear before feeding their spirits with faith. And then they wonder why they feel drained. They wonder why they feel anxious. They wonder why their bodies are breaking down. They wonder why their lives feel chaotic. What if I told you that 5 minutes could begin changing everything? 5 minutes. That's shorter than most people spend checking notifications. Shorter than most people spend watching random videos online. Shorter than most people spend worrying about problems they cannot solve. But 5 intentional minutes every morning can completely shift the direction of your life. The first thing you need to do is thank God. Before your feet touch the floor, say thank you. Thank Him for waking you up. Thank Him for protecting you through the night. Thank Him for another chance to grow. Thank Him for another chance to improve. Gratitude changes your perspective. People who constantly complain live exhausted lives. People who remain thankful often carry peace that others cannot understand. Then speak life over yourself. Stop speaking defeat over your mornings. Stop saying, I'm exhausted. My life is terrible. Nothing ever works out for me. Those words become seeds. And eventually seeds grow. Speak strength. Speak peace. Speak healing. Speak victory. Say, I am blessed. I am protected. I am healthy. I am prepared. This day will be productive. Your tongue has power. What you repeatedly declare can shape your future. Then move your body. Stretch your muscles. Take deep breaths. Walk around. Drink water. Wake your body up with purpose. Your body is a gift. Treat it with respect. Many people ignore their health when they are young and spend their later years trying to buy back what poor habits destroyed. 5 minutes of movement every day can make a huge difference over time. Then protect your mind. Stop reaching for your phone the moment you wake up. Some people allow bad news, social media drama, comparison, and negativity to control their emotions before breakfast. Guard your peace. Not everything deserves your attention. Your mind needs discipline. And finally, seek direction. Before emails, before responsibilities, before stress, ask God, what should I focus on today? Lead me. Give me wisdom. Help me make decisions that honor you. Because being busy is not always being productive. And success means very little if you lose your health and peace trying to achieve it. Your future is built through daily habits, not occasional motivation, not temporary excitement. Daily discipline creates long-term rewards. 5 minutes may sound small, but small actions repeated daily produce extraordinary results. 5 minutes of prayer, 5 minutes of gratitude, 5 minutes of movement, 5 minutes of discipline, 5 minutes of peace. Years from now, you may realize those 5 minutes helped you live longer, not just in years, but in quality. Better health, better peace, better focus, better purpose, and a better life. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, don't rush, don't complain, don't scroll. Take 5 minutes and invest them in the life you want to build. The fact that your eyes opened this morning means purpose still exists for your life. Your assignment is not over. Your story is not complete. There is still something meaningful attached to your existence. Yet many people wake up and immediately begin complaining about the very day they prayed for. They complain about their responsibilities. They complain about their jobs. They complain about their challenges. They complain about their struggles. And what they fail to realize is that complaining about life while still having breath is dangerous, because there are people who would give anything for one more sunrise. There are people in hospitals fighting for another morning. There are families grieving loved ones who never woke up. There are people whose plans ended yesterday, and yet you woke up today. That alone should produce gratitude. Before your feet touch the floor, before you check your messages, Before you turn on the television, before you open social media, take a moment and simply say, thank you. Thank you for life. Thank you for breath. Then, KU for another opportunity. Thank you for protection throughout the night. Thank you for strength. Thank you for grace. Thank you for keeping my family safe. Thank you for allowing me another chance to become better than I was yesterday. Gratitude changes everything. A grateful heart sees blessings where others only see burdens. A grateful person can walk through storms while still maintaining peace because gratitude reminds them that if God brought them through yesterday, He can handle today. Many people are physically alive but emotionally exhausted because they begin every day focused on what they do not have. They focus on unpaid bills, broken relationships, career struggles, unexpected setbacks, health challenges. And while those problems may be real, gratitude reminds you that problems are not the whole story. You may have struggles, but you still have breath. You may have challenges, but you still have opportunity. You may have battles, but you still have hope. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what remains. And what remains is often far greater than what you lost. When you wake up and immediately fill your mind with negativity, weaken your spirit before your day even begins. Some people wake up and instantly check their phones. They consume bad news. They compare their lives to strangers online. They allow stress to enter their hearts before peace ever has a chance. That pattern slowly damages your mental health. That pattern increases anxiety. That pattern steals joy. Instead, train yourself to begin with prayer and gratitude, even if it's only 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes can protect your peace for the entire day. Tell God thank you for waking you up. Thank Him for closed doors that protected you. Thank Him for unanswered prayers that saved you from future pain. Thank Him for lessons learned through difficult seasons. Thank Him for opportunities still ahead of you. Thank Him for things you cannot yet see. Because faith sometimes means thanking God before the breakthrough arrives. Gratitude is powerful because it fights pride. It reminds you that you are not self-made. Every blessing you have is connected to grace. The air in your lungs is grace. The strength in your body is grace. The people who love you are grace. The opportunities before you are grace. And when you understand. And grace entitlement begins to disappear. You stop acting as if life owes you something. Instead, you begin treating each day as a gift. People who understand that life is a gift tend to live differently. They protect their peace. They value relationships. They forgive faster. They love deeper. They waste less time on meaningless drama. They understand time is precious. And every morning is an opportunity to reset your perspective. No matter what happened yesterday, today is fresh. Yesterday's mistakes do not have to control today. Yesterday's failures do not have to define today. Yesterday's pain does not have to ruin today. Every morning offers new mercy. Every sunrise offers another chance. And all it takes is 5 intentional minutes of gratitude to remind yourself that your life still carries value, purpose, and possibility. What you say in the first few moments of your morning matters more than most people realize. Before the world speaks to you, before your responsibilities begin calling your name, before problems try to demand your attention, your own voice can either build your future or slowly destroy your confidence. Many people wake up every day and immediately speak defeat over themselves. They say things like, I'm so tired. This day is going to be stressful. I can't handle this. My life never gets better. Nothing good ever happens for me. And they speak these words so casually that they don't realize they are planting seeds of negativity into their own minds. Words are never empty. Words carry power. They shape your attitude, your confidence, your decisions, and eventually your future. If you constantly speak weakness, you begin to think weak. If you constantly speak failure, you begin to expect failure. If you constantly speak fear, you begin to live cautiously and miss opportunities that were meant for you. Your words can either become chains or they can become keys. That is why the first 5 minutes after waking up should include speaking life over yourself. Instead of speaking fear, speak faith. Instead of speaking stress, speak peace. Instead of speaking defeat, speak victory. Wake up and declare, today will be a good day. Say, I am strong enough for whatever comes my way. Say, I am blessed. Say, I am protected. Say, I have purpose. Say, I will not be controlled by fear. Say, I will walk in wisdom today. Those words may seem simple, but repeated daily, they begin reshaping how you think. Your mind listens to what your mouth repeatedly says. Many people are waiting for someone else to encourage them while speaking destruction over themselves every morning. They want motivation from friends, family, co-workers, or social media, but true transformation begins when you learn how to encourage yourself. There may be mornings when no one calls you, no one praises you, no one notices your efforts, no one tells you that you're doing a good job. That is why you must learn how to strengthen yourself. Look in the mirror and remind yourself that you have survived difficult seasons before. Remind yourself that your current struggles are temporary. Remind yourself that your mistakes do not define your future. Remind yourself that setbacks are not permanent endings. Sometimes your greatest battle happens in your own mind. Negative thoughts may tell you that you are not capable. Negative thoughts may remind you of past failures. Negative thoughts may try to convince you that your future is limited, but your words can fight back against those lies. WH. End fear says you're not enough, speak confidence. When anxiety says things will fall apart, speak peace. When failure reminds you of yesterday, speak hope for tomorrow. Your words influence your physical health as well. Stress-filled language increases tension. Negative thinking creates emotional exhaustion. Constant complaining drains your energy. But hopeful words create mental strength. Peaceful thoughts reduce unnecessary stress. Positive declarations improve resilience. This does not mean pretending problems do not exist. It means refusing to let problems become your identity. You may be facing financial pressure, but you are not permanently defeated. You may be dealing with health struggles, but your story is not over. You may have experienced heartbreak, but healing is possible. Never allow temporary pain to become permanent language. Your environment may also reflect the words you speak. People are drawn toward those who carry hope. Opportunities often come to those who maintain confidence. Strong words create strong habits. Strong habits create strong futures. And remember this, your children may be listening. Your spouse may be listening. Your coworker, ERS may be listening. The people around you often learn how to handle life by watching your response to challenges. When they hear you speak faith during hard times, you inspire them. When they hear you choose hope during painful seasons, you strengthen them. When they hear you refuse negativity, you become an example. Every morning gives you an opportunity to set the tone for your life. 5 minutes of speaking life may seem small, but those small daily declarations can transform your mindset, your confidence, your health, and your future in ways you cannot yet imagine. The first moments after you wake up are some of the most mentally influential moments of your entire day. In those early minutes, your mind is not fully guarded yet. It is not yet filtered by logic, structure, or emotional balance. It is open, impressionable, and highly sensitive to whatever you feed it. That is exactly why what you choose to expose yourself to in that window will quietly shape your emotions, your focus, and even your decisions for the rest of the day. Many people make a critical mistake without even realizing it. The moment they wake up, before they have even taken a full breath of awareness. SS, they reach for their phone. They open social media, messages, news feeds, videos, and notifications. Instantly, their mind is flooded with information they did not choose carefully and emotions they are not prepared to process. They start reacting before they have even grounded themselves. One message may create stress. One headline may trigger fear. One comparison may create dissatisfaction. One argument in a comment section may plant irritation. And all of this enters the mind before peace has a chance to settle in. When you begin your day by consuming the world's noise, you are allowing the outside world to define your inner world before you have even defined yourself. This is why so many people wake up feeling anxious without knowing why. They have not even faced their real responsibilities yet, but their mind already feels overwhelmed. The brain was not designed to absorb chaos immediately after rest. It needs transition. It needs calm. It needs intention. Think of your mind like a garden. The first thing you plant in that garden will influence everything that grows afterward. If the first seeds are fear, comparison, and distraction, then those become the emotional tone, E of your day. But if the first seeds are peace, clarity, gratitude, and focus, then your entire day begins on a stronger foundation. Protecting your mind is not about ignoring reality. It is about prioritizing your mental environment so that you are strong enough to face reality with wisdom instead of reacting from emotional overload. There is a difference between being informed and being overwhelmed. There is a difference between staying connected and being constantly distracted. There is a difference between using technology and being used by it. When you wake up and immediately dive into your phone, you surrender your attention to thousands of competing voices. Algorithms begin deciding what you see, what you think about, and even how you feel. Without realizing it, you shift from being in control of your day to being controlled by external input. But when you choose to delay that exposure, even for a short time, you reclaim something powerful: mental authority. You give yourself space to think clearly before reacting. You allow your emotions to stabilize before being influenced. You create room for intention instead of impulse. And that small act of discipline can change the direction of your morning. Instead of starting with digital noise, imagine starting with silence. Imagine starting with a moment where your mind is not being pulled in 10 different directions. In that space, clarity begins to rise. You begin to hear your own thoughts more clearly. You begin to notice what actually matters instead of what is simply urgent or loud. This is where focus is built. Not in the middle of chaos, but in the presence of stillness. Many people struggle with productivity throughout the day, not because they lack ability, but because their focus has already been fractured early in the morning. A scattered morning often leads to a scattered mind, and a scattered mind leads to scattered results. Protecting your mind also means protecting your emotions. When you immediately consume stressful content, your body responds as if those problems belong to you. Stress hormones activate, tension increases, your breathing becomes shallow, and all of this happens before you have even started your day's real responsibilities. But when you delay that exposure and instead give yourself space for calm, your nervous system begins the day in balance rather than in reaction. This is not about rejecting technology. It is about establishing boundaries so that your mind does not become a dumping ground for everything the world produces first thing in the morning. Your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Where it goes, your life follows. If your attention is scattered early, your energy becomes scattered later. If your attention is protected early, your focus becomes stronger later. The truth is, most people do not realize how much their morning inputs shape their identity over time. What you consistently consume in the first hour of your day begins to influence your mindset, your confidence, your expectations, and even your emotional resilience. When you learn to delay distraction, you are not losing time. You are gaining control. You are choosing to begin your day with intention rather than reaction. And that simple shift can be the difference between a day that feels chaotic and a day that feels grounded, focused, and purposeful. Your body does not simply wake up at the same speed as your mind. Even though your eyes open and you become aware, your system is still transitioning from rest to activity. Your muscles are still. Relaxed from hours of inactivity, your blood circulation is still adjusting, your breathing pattern is still shifting, and your nervous system is slowly moving from a restorative state into an active one. This is why the way you physically begin your morning matters far more than most people realize. Many people wake up and immediately rush into stress. They jump out of bed, grab their phone, start thinking about deadlines, responsibilities, problems, and expectations. Their body wakes up under pressure instead of preparation. Over time, this habit creates a life where stress is not just mental but deeply physical. The body begins to carry tension before the day even starts. Movement in the first few minutes of your morning is not about exercise in the traditional sense. It is about activation. It is about telling your body gently and intentionally that it is time to wake up, time to flow, time to function at its best capacity. Even something as simple as stretching your arms, rolling your shoulders, or standing up slowly and taking a few deep breaths can begin to change your internal state. These small movements increase blood flow to your muscles, especially after hours of stillness. They signal your brain that you are safe, awake, and ready to engage with the day. Deep breathing is especially powerful. When you take slow, intentional breaths in the morning, you are doing more than just filling your lungs. You are regulating your nervous system. You are reducing internal tension. You are stabilizing your heart rate. You are creating a moment of calm before the world begins to demand your attention. Most people underestimate how much their breathing affects their emotional state. Shallow breathing, which is common during stress, keeps the body in a subtle state of alertness. But deep, controlled breathing activates a calmer, more balanced response. This means that within just a few minutes, you can shift your internal environment from tension to peace. Movement also plays a long-term role in your health. Many chronic health issues that people face later in life are not sudden. They are built through years of inactivity, stiffness, and lack of circulation. When you begin each morning with gentle movement, you are investing in your future body. You are maintaining flexibility, supporting joint health, and improving circulation before the demands of tea. The day begins to restrict your time. There is also a psychological benefit. When you move your body first thing in the morning, you create momentum. You are no longer in a passive state. You are active. You are engaged. You are signaling to yourself that you are someone who takes initiative rather than someone who waits for motivation to arrive. This small act builds discipline over time. Discipline is not created in big moments. It is created in small, repeated decisions. Choosing to stretch instead of staying rigid in bed. Choosing to breathe deeply instead of rushing into chaos. Choosing to move instead of remaining stagnant. Even 5 minutes of intentional movement can shift your entire day. You may notice that your thinking becomes clearer. Your energy becomes more stable. Your mood becomes more balanced. This is because the body and mind are deeply connected. When the body is stagnant, the mind often feels heavy. When the body is activated, the mind often becomes more alert. Another important aspect is how morning movement reduces accumulated tension. Many people carry stress in their shoulders, neck, and back without realizing it. They wake up already physically type B. Hours of emotional stress from the previous day. Gentle movement helps release that stored tension, allowing the body to reset before new stress is added. Over time, this practice becomes more than just a morning habit. It becomes a foundation for healthier living. It encourages awareness of your body throughout the day. It makes you more conscious of posture, breathing, and physical well-being. It teaches you that health is not only built in gyms or during workouts, but in consistent, intentional actions woven into daily life. When you begin your day by moving your body with care and intention, you are not just waking up physically. You are preparing yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to face the day with strength rather than strain. Purpose is one of the most powerful forces that can shape the direction of a human life, yet it is also one of the most ignored in daily living. Many people wake up every morning and immediately rush into activity without ever stopping to ask a deeper question. Why am I doing what I am doing today? They move from task to task, obligation to obligation, distraction to distraction, but without clarity of direction. And when purpose is even productive activity can feel empty. That is why those first few minutes after waking up matter so deeply. Before the noise of the world enters, before responsibilities begin to pull your attention in different directions, there is a brief window where you can align yourself internally. In that space, you have the opportunity to set direction instead of simply reacting to demands. When you take a moment to seek purpose before activity, you are choosing to live intentionally rather than accidentally. You are deciding that your day will not just happen to you, but that you will engage it with awareness and direction. This shift may seem subtle, but it has powerful consequences over time. Many people live their days based on urgency instead of purpose. Urgency says, what is demanding my attention right now? Purpose asks, what truly matters today? Urgency reacts, purpose leads. And when you are led only by urgency, you often end the day exhausted but unfulfilled. You may have been busy, but not necessarily meaningful in your actions. When you pause in the morning and seek guidance, you are creating alignment between your inner values and your outer actions. Instead of allowing circumstances to dictate your direction, you begin to filter your decisions through a sense of meaning. Even simple questions like, what should I focus on today? Or how can I make today count? Begin to reshape your awareness. For many, life feels scattered because there is no center point. Without purpose, every distraction becomes important. Every notification feels urgent. Every request feels demanding. But when purpose is clear, distractions lose their power. You begin to recognize what deserves your attention and what does not. This clarity reduces emotional exhaustion. A person without direction often wastes energy on unnecessary stress because everything feels equally important. But a person with purpose learns to prioritize. They understand that not every opportunity is aligned with their growth. Not every conversation deserves their emotional energy. Not every task contributes to their long-term direction. Seeking purpose in the morning also strengthens decision-making throughout the day. When your mind is already aligned with intention, you are less likely to be pulled into confusion. You become more thoughtful in your responses. You become more selective. With your time, you become more aware of your choices. This is especially important in a world filled with constant distractions. Messages, notifications, expectations, and responsibilities compete for attention from the moment you wake up. Without a clear internal foundation, it becomes easy to lose focus and drift from one thing to another without real progress. But when you begin with purpose, you create a filter. You begin to ask, does this align with what I need to accomplish today? That simple question can protect you from wasted time, unnecessary stress, and emotional overload. Purpose also brings peace. When you know what direction your day is meant to take, you reduce the anxiety of uncertainty. A large portion of stress comes not from difficulty, but from confusion. When you are unsure of what matters most, everything feels overwhelming. But when clarity is present, even challenges feel more manageable. There is also a spiritual dimension to seeking purpose. Many people find strength in pausing and asking for guidance beyond themselves. Whether through prayer, reflection, or quiet thought, this moment of connection helps center the mind. It reminds you that you are not navigating life alone, and that there is wisdom available beyond your immediate understanding. Over time, this daily practice builds consistency and character. People who begin their mornings with intention tend to live more aligned lives. They are less reactive, more thoughtful, and more grounded in their decisions. They do not just chase success randomly, they pursue it with direction. Purpose also influences how you treat others. When you are clear about your own direction, you are less likely to be easily frustrated by distractions or people's demands. You respond with patience rather than irritation. You communicate with clarity rather than confusion. You interact with others from a place of stability instead of stress. Ultimately, seeking purpose before activity is about reclaiming control over your day before the world tries to take it from you. It is about deciding that your life will not be defined by randomness, but by intentional living. And when this becomes a daily habit, it gradually transforms not just your mornings, but your entire life trajectory. 5 minutes may sound insignificant in the beginning. In a world that measures value by size, speed, and visibility, results, something as small as 5 minutes, can easily be dismissed as unimportant. People often believe that transformation requires massive effort, dramatic change, or long hours of discipline. But the truth is far more subtle and far more powerful. Lasting change is rarely born in big moments. It is built in small, repeated ones. The first misunderstanding most people have is thinking that change must feel overwhelming in order to be effective. They imagine that in order to improve their health, mindset, or life direction, they must completely overhaul everything at once. But that kind of thinking often leads to burnout, inconsistency, and eventually quitting. What actually creates transformation is not intensity alone, but consistency. 5 minutes every morning represents consistency at its purest level. It is small enough to be achievable, yet powerful enough to create momentum. When you commit to something simple every single day, you are no longer relying on motivation. You are building identity. You are telling yourself repeatedly, this is who I am. I am someone who shows up. I am someone who invests in my life. That identity shift is where real change begins. Many people underestimate the compound effect of small actions. They look at one day and think it does not matter much. But life is not built in isolated days, it is built in patterns. One day of gratitude may feel small. One day of speaking life may feel ordinary. One day of movement may feel irrelevant. But when those days are repeated, they become weeks. Weeks become months. Months become years. And years shape the direction of a life. This is how transformation happens quietly, almost unnoticed at first. Not through sudden breakthroughs, but through consistent behavior. 5 minutes a day is also powerful because it is mentally sustainable. Human behavior is often driven more by what is easy to repeat than what is impressive to attempt. When something feels too difficult, the mind resists it. When something feels simple, the mind accepts it. That is why many people start strong with big goals but struggle to maintain them. The system is too heavy to carry every day, but 5 minutes removes that burden. It becomes a doorway instead of a wall. It is not intimidating. It is not overwhelming. It is accessible even on the busiest mornings, even on the most difficult days, even when motivation is low. And those are the days that matter the most. Because discipline is not proven when life is easy. It is proven when life is inconvenient. 5 minutes also builds momentum. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. Once you start something small, it becomes easier to continue. A body at rest resists change, but once movement begins, it becomes easier to keep moving. The same principle applies to habits. The hardest part is starting. Once you begin, even in a small way, you create internal energy that carries forward into the rest of your day. This is why 5 minutes in the morning can influence the next 5 hours of your life. It is not about the duration itself, it is about the direction it sets. There is also a psychological impact. When you complete a small positive action early in the day, your mind registers success. You begin the day with a sense of accomplishment instead of delay or avoidance. That small win builds confidence. And confidence influences how you approach everything else that follows. People often wait for big achievements to feel confident, but confidence is actually built through small, repeated confirmations that help build confidence. You can trust yourself. Every time you show up for those 5 minutes, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of discipline. And that belief gradually expands into other areas of life. Over time, 5 minutes becomes more than a habit. It becomes a foundation. A foundation does not need to be loud or visible. It simply needs to be strong and consistent. It supports everything built on top of it. What begins as 5 minutes of intention in the morning slowly shapes your mindset throughout the day. It influences how you speak, how you react, how you think, and how you handle pressure. It creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond those initial moments. And perhaps the most important truth is this. Big changes in life are often the result of small decisions repeated long enough that they become part of who you are. 5 minutes is not just time, it is training. It is training your mind, your body, and your spirit to operate with consistency, discipline, and intention. Over weeks, months, and years, that training accumulates. And one day you look back and realize that what once felt small has completely reshaped the direction of your life. What often goes unnoticed in life is that transformation is not measured only in dramatic moments, but in quiet accumulation. People tend to look for sudden change, instant success, immediate healing, rapid improvement, but life rarely works in such a way. Instead, life changes through consistency, repetition, and small decisions that seem insignificant at the moment, but become powerful over time. When you commit to a small discipline every morning, such as 5 intentional minutes of gratitude, prayer, movement, or reflection, you are not simply filling time. You are shaping identity. You are reinforcing patterns that gradually define who you become. At first, it may feel like nothing is happening. You may not see immediate results. You may even question whether such a small habit can make any difference at all. But real growth is often invisible in the beginning. Think about how a tree grows. You do not see it expand visibly each day. There is no dramatic moment where it suddenly becomes strong and tall. Instead, it grows slowly, steadily, and consistently beneath the surface before it becomes visible above the ground. In the same way, your daily habits are working beneath the surface of your life, shaping your mindset, your emotions, your health, and your direction long before the results become obvious. The same applies to your health. A single day of better choices does not transform your body, but repeated choices over months and years create strength, energy, and resilience. The same applies to your mind. One positive thought does not erase years of negativity, but consistent mental discipline slowly rewires how you respond to life. The same applies to your spirit. One moment of reflection does not create deep peace, but daily grounding builds stability that helps you endure storms. This is why small beginnings should never be underestimated. What feels small today may be the foundation of something far greater.